Hello everyone, welcome again to my YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. I don't take anything for granted because it is by the will of God that we always meet in this forum. Remember your Creator every time, every minute, in every segment of your life. Pray, pray for yourself, pray for others. Pray for yourself before you're prayed for. Pray and pray. It keeps you healthy, keeps you happy, keeps you motivated. To my new subscribers, I've noticed I have new subscribers. Welcome to this channel of my journey of prayer, faith, and healing. Karibuni sana. In this channel, you're going to learn a lot from a person who has gone through it all in this journey and came out winning. You kindly share my channel with others. Comment on my videos. Get other people to subscribe to my channel. You're going to get a lot of tips in my channel. This channel is meant for family members, caregivers. You never know when illness strikes. So better be ready with facts and ideas. You never know. And some remedies that will help a recovering person that you may come across. So in my last episode, I had promised to tell you more about how the disposable square pads work. A disposable square pad is very important for a recovering person who is immobilized. You find yourself in some situations, people in recovery may not even be able to use bedpans. So you're left with the option of diapers or square pads. Diapers may not work very well, especially for somebody who cannot even turn, probably lying on the side, lying on the left side, lying on the right side, or probably even changing different positions in bed. So a square pad comes in and it's very useful. A square pad is also made almost with similar material to fabric, but it's lighter to a diaper. But this is something, it measures approximately 60 by 60 centimeters. And it's just, like I said, it's a square pad. You place it on the bed for the patient. And as opposed to using a diaper, this one now leaves you, the recovering person, with the more chances of air circulation, because the recovering person now is not completely wrapped up and enclosed. So once the square pad is soiled, it is removed and a new one is placed again. And it's placed again. So this one reduces the chances of bed rashes. That reminds me of the time when raising my children, I belonged to the old school group, whereby there were no diapers. So we had these cotton napkins that we were using for caring for our children. And at times you'd take your baby for the clinics, and the nurses would scold you for letting your baby develop a bed rash. And so we would be advised, like during the day, there were these much softer fabrics, nappy liners. So during the day, we would be advised to just leave the baby without a napkin, and you place a nappy liner wherever the baby is resting, or especially when they are on the bed. Just put a nappy liner and remove don't wrap the baby with the napkin, so that at least there's good air circulation, and that reduced the bed rashes on baby. So it's the same formula for a recovering person who is immobilized. So back to my healing journey again. I told you earlier on that I was preparing in my preparations for my retirement, I really wanted to thank God in a very special way. The way I was going to thank God, it was to volunteer, to work for God 100%. I was not going to go into any business. My business was with God. I was going to work for Him, give Him my all 100% in gratitude for taking care of me and what He had done for me throughout my adult life up to retirement. So in that preparation, I had earlier enrolled for training as a chaplain of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has a chaplaincy ministry, which is the compassionate arm of the Seventh-day Adventist ministry. It is a gospel of mercy and kindness, provides personal care in special settings. In a nutshell, the Seventh-day Chaplaincy ministry is a care and concern ministry for God's people in times of crisis. By God's people, I mean humankind. We do not segregate religion or your status when we offer our services. So in my training, I had done the first level of my training, and I had enrolled for my second level of my training. The second level of my training as a chaplain, the second level of my training as a chaplain was very, very intense. The classes were conducted on Sundays by highly professional lecturers, highly placed people in the government of Kenya who are offering this training. It is a serious, very, very serious training. There's no joke about it. So you can imagine on a Sunday, preparing yourself on a Sunday morning to be in class at 8. And the classes, for me, I had to travel a 30-minute distance away from my home to access this class. The second level of this training as a chaplain. And the classes would commence at exactly 8 a.m. and conclude at 3 p.m. That is the local time in Kenya. We even opted that as a class, we would only take 15-minute breaks. Only 2 15-minute breaks. By that meant that At about 10, we would take a 15-minute break, and around midday, we'd take another 15-minute break to re-energize ourselves, ready for the next class. In this training, we took 12 subjects, of which I'm not going to discuss about, that were relevant to this second level of training as an Adventist chaplain. I invested in financially because we had to cater for our lecturers' transport costs. Even the lecturers themselves were offering this training on a volunteer basis, and in reciprocation, at least we would cover for their fuel costs to facilitate their travel from the distances they were traveling, just to come and offer us this very crucial training. And upon graduation, again, we swore to secrecy. We were sworn to secrecy. We were sworn not to charge any money. So a Seventh-day Adventist chaplain does not charge any money for the services we offer. But rather, we can accept something in kind, but we do not charge any fees for those services. In the Seventh-day Adventist chaplaincy ministry, there are 9 areas of emphasis in this ministry. But today I'm just going to mention a couple of them where my training was mostly concentrated on. My training was concentrated on hospital ministries, prison ministries, ministries to the poor and the needy, ministries to the destitute and street children. And upon my conclusion of the training, I graduated on 30th June 2024. Maybe in the course of my videos, YouTube videos, I may share with you some pictures from that graduation on the graduation day. And why did I bring up this issue of my chaplaincy training in this channel? This chaplaincy training also played a big role during my recovery. I was actually now on the other side of the camera. Let me call it the other side of the camera. Reason is, I had visited during my practicals as a chaplain. I had visited people in hospital setups. I had visited people in prisons. I had visited children in destitute, in children's homes. I had visited people in destitute setups. And now it was my turn. I was in hospital. In fact, at some stage while I was in hospital, some chaplains came by, and I introduced myself as a fellow chaplain. And I was actually monitoring them. I was monitoring them to see also if they're doing, if they were actually practicing what we had been trained. And sure enough, they practiced what we had been trained. And in my hospital setup also, while I was recovering, I would also advise, I would also practice some of the things that I had learned as a chaplain, practice it on myself, and also advise people who are coming to visit me in hospital, like disinfecting your hands, wearing of mask, keeping a distance from me, discouraging visitors from sitting on my bed, which is very important. It is not advisable to sit on a recovering person's bed. If a chair is not provided, kindly just stand up as a soldier. After all, you'll be visiting this person for a couple of minutes. So please don't sit on that recovering person's bed, whether in a home setup or in a hospital setup. Do not sit in the recovering person's bed. Also from that training, because we had already appointed, in my class, we had already appointed our student leader or a student captain. The student captain was a very kind person and very outgoing. So being aware that some of the people who were taking that class were not living within the city, some of them were very far in distant places in Kenya, but occasionally would make a point of attending the class. But whenever they would not attend the class, kudos to you, Oscar Lawrence, captain of our class of Kahawa Wendani class of 2024. Kudos for sharing the notes to us. So in hospital, my caregiver would read out the notes to me from the phone. Whenever she would come for the whole training that day, she would read them, but she would read during the week in sections, subject by subject. She would read it out to me, and I would catch up with the training. And also during my time, whenever I was not in so much pain and discomfort, I would read those notes and learn from there. And when I was released from the hospital and I was at home, also I would read those notes. And one of my classmates, Miss Benny Juma, would come in again and we would share the notes from the training. We would go through with her together, especially in the situations of group study and group work. I was in her group, so I would participate in the group work remotely. And that's how my training was, and that is how my training helped in my recovery. There were Bible verses that were also part of our training, which really helped me a lot in my recovery journey. And as I was going through my notes also recently, I came across a quote that somebody had shared. And I can share a few of those. There are actually 19 of them. Those were, should I call them 19 prescriptions but I'm just going to share with you just a few of those prescriptions before I conclude my journey today. It says, not all medicines are found in the pharmacy. Laughter is medicine. Loving others is medicine. Loving yourself is medicine. Good thoughts and a good state of mind is medicine. Vegetables and fruits is medicine. Good healthy food is medicine. Kindly comment on today's video, like my video, share my video, and help me get more subscribers by sharing my video. That's all I have for you for today. Bye, and until the next one, see you.